Hi everyone, I'm Shelly from There's No Place Like Home at redheadmom8.wordpress.com. Out of everything that I talk about, one of the things that I still seem to get the most interest in is notebooking. So what I've decided that I'm going to do over the next few weeks or months is I'm going to occasionally go over with you how to do each kind of notebooking that we are using in our house. And just keep in mind that there are other kinds of notebooking that we do not do. I'm just going to do that which we have experience with. But I thought that it would give you a better look at how we go about doing it, because I know that a lot of people have watched my other videos and they have said that they still don't quite understand what it's all about. So I'm hoping that if I do one type of notebooking per video, that you will get a better understanding of what it's all about. So to me, the easiest way to get into notebooking is through Read-Alouds. And that is actually the first way that we ever started notebooking, was we started doing it with our Read-Alouds. So I'm going to talk to you about how you can do this with your children today. So when you are reading to your children, one of the most important things that you can do, whether you are notebooking or not, is to ask them to narrate. Narration is an excellent way to see if your children are listening, to see if they're comprehending what is going on. And a lot of times it's really interesting to see what their take is on what you've been reading. So the way that you narrate is actually, there are several ways to narrate. It actually depends on the level of your child and how well they're able to narrate, what their listening skills are. So it is really dependent on each individual child. And so you have to decide that because you know your child best. So what you want to do though is typically you will stop after every few pages, sometimes at the end of a chapter, or with younger children, maybe after every few paragraphs. You will want to stop and you will want to ask your child to tell back what you had read to them. And unlike comprehension questions, which I know a lot of reading workbooks have, they're kind of leading the kids to say what they want them to say. Whereas with narration, your kids are telling you everything completely off the top of their heads. They're letting you know how well they were paying attention, how well they understood it, what they thought of everything that was going on. So it is an excellent thing for you to do with your kids, again, whether you are notebooking or not. But it is especially important if you are going to notebook through Read-Alouds with your kids, because when your kids are telling back to you what they have read, it is also helping them to remember what the story or the book was about for the day. And if they have siblings who are also narrating, they are also listening to the narrations that their siblings give. And that is also helping them to remember the story, because remembering the story is very important, obviously, when you are going to notebook for a Read-Aloud. So we have that down pat, the narration, okay? That is helping them to understand. So after I would read a chapter with my kids, I would go up to the whiteboard on days that we were doing Read-Alouds. Now, I will tell you that there are days that I do not have my kids narrate because I read to several kids at a time. So when we do narration, it really does take like an extra 20 to 30 minutes. But on days that my kids were notebooking for their Read-Alouds, they didn't do notebooking for the Read-Alouds every day. But when they were, we would make sure to narrate that day. Then after the chapter was finished, I would go up to the whiteboard and I would ask my children to tell me any words that they didn't know how to spell that they wanted to write on their notebooking page. Or they could ask me to write phrases to help jog their memory so that as they were creating their notebooking page, they wouldn't forget what it was that they wanted to talk about. For my younger children, they might even ask me to write a complete sentence on the board, maybe if they didn't know how to spell it. And I will gladly do that. And I would just write the complete sentence on the board for them. After you do that, what I usually do is I would have my kids pick out their own notebooking page. And you can get so many blank notebooking pages or generic notebooking pages online. I get them from notebookingpages.com. There is a paid yearly membership, but I do not have that, frugal homeschooler that I am. You would think that I would because of all the notebooking that I do, but they actually offer over 600 pages for free that you can download. So yeah, that is what I use mostly for our generic notebooking pages. So I would have my children pick out what type of notebooking page they would like to use for the day. Now, some notebooking pages come with, I'll show you this. This is not from notebookingpages.com. I actually found these on spellingclassroom.com. It's a spelling website, but they also have little pages like this that you can pronounce. But notebooking pages will often come with a box for a picture and then some lines underneath for your children to write something. And that is typically the one that my kids will choose the most. There are notebooking pages that are all lines. And unless your child is really into writing and does not like drawing, I found, at least with my kids, that one they tend to stay away from, just because my kids are artistic and they really like to draw a lot of what they're writing about. I'll just show you. Now this one here, there's a little bit more room for them to write, but there's still some boxes for them to draw in. And there are also even, oh, here's one of them that's all lines. See, surprisingly, sometimes my kids do choose those. But there are also ones that are just for drawing, and I will show you that right here. That's just for drawing. Now, for my older children, the ones who do know how to write, like for example, obviously my daughter, I think that we did this almost 2 years ago. My daughter who did this obviously knew how to write. So I know that sometimes my kids will try to pull a fast one on me, and they will try to just keep pulling out the notebooking pages that are just for drawing, because I do sometimes let them do that when they can still write. But I try to keep my kids doing some sort of writing in all of their notebooking pages. Although every now and then, yes, I will let them do a complete drawing notebooking page. But that notebooking page has to show me, that drawing, that illustration on the notebooking page, it has to show me what it is that I had read about that day. Like, they can't just do something that was kind of basic from the story. You know, they couldn't just say, draw anything that lasted throughout the story. It had to be something specific to that day so that I knew that they were really paying attention. So like, for example, here, this is a picture of what the ceiling looked like that day. It was describing how the ceiling was decorated. Or no, oh, she's not going to like this. I didn't see her drawing right. This is, I thought that's what it was, but I just saw the spiders. So this is actually the spiders crawling in through the window that day. And this was from Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. And I know that I am going to get comments about Harry Potter having witchcraft. And yes, I do know that there is witchcraft in Harry Potter, but or magic. What they say is magic a lot of times too. And yes, I think that it is entirely up to you whether you want to read Harry Potter with your child if you are a Christian. But one thing that I would like to point out very quickly, because I know I'm going to get these comments, is that you often hear this about Harry Potter, but you do not hear people saying this about The Lord of the Rings or the Chronicles of Narnia series, which both also have magic in them. So I just want to point out that a lot of the most touted Christian series also contain magic, and for some reason people really seem to hone in on Harry Potter. So again, it is entirely up to you, but we do not find anything wrong with Harry Potter just because it didn't lead my kids to want to start practicing magic or, you know, go into the Wiccan religion or anything of that sort. So I'm just going to address that here because I know the comments are going to come. So anyway, so that's what that was. And this here in this picture is when Harry found Tom Riddle's diary, and he realized that if he wrote in it, even though nothing would show up, the diary would talk back to him. So these pictures here clearly are showing me that that she was understanding what was going on. She knew everything that I had read about. So I don't mind when my older kids do illustrations like that, as long as they are showing me that they understood. And again, I don't let them do it all the time. A lot of times I will tell them, didn't you just do one of those yesterday? And if they say yes, then I would say, no, you need to pick another one that has you know, an area for you to write in. So that's up to you too. The The drawing ones I think are really good for kids who really aren't writing much yet, because drawing is a form of narration. It really is. Drawing can show you just as much as writing how well a child understood what was being read. It's just that for me, notebooking really, and we don't do a writing curriculum. Notebooking is our writing curriculum. So for my older kids, I do want them to practice writing through their notebooking, which is why I don't, let them do so much of the drawing. But anyway, getting into what you would use to notebook with. Now, you really can notebook with anything. Your kids could use composition books. If you're not going to use the printed out papers, they could use spiral notebooks. What I have found works best for the Read Aloud notebooking is I really like to get these really inexpensive 3-prong folders that they can just punch holes in their papers and just put them in. I like them because if you are doing a lot of read-alouds, yeah, you can tell this was from like 2 years ago because somebody dumped something on it. But anyway, if you're doing a lot of read-alouds, these are really inexpensive. And they also, as you can see, they don't take up much room. And we don't have a lot of room for storage here. We don't have our own school room. Everything is pretty much kept in the dining room. So we don't have a lot of storage space. And we've got 9 kids being homeschooled this year. So yeah, space really counts with us. So we like these 3-prong folders because they do not take up much room and they're inexpensive. And that way you can actually have a different folder for every book that you read. And then your child at the end of the year or at the end of their, homeschool years, depending on how long you do it, will have a different notebook for every single one of the read-alouds that they notebooked for. So that's a really nice memento for them. If you don't want to use the 3-prong folders, another idea, at least to save space and also economically, is just to use a binder, and then you could use the dividers in between each book. So that is another idea. But again, that is entirely up to you. So I think that I covered everything with how we do our read-alouds and notebooking. I'm not going to promise when, because I'm not really sure when, but in the near future, I am going to come out with another notebooking video on a different type of notebooking that we do. So if you like this video, just give it a thumbs up. If you have anything that you would like to add to how to notebook through read-alouds, any tips that you have, I would love if you would leave a comment. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I would love if you would do that. And I hope you have a great day.